Hello, Dr. Coker here, and I'm going to explain the entire post-Shadowbringers story in 10 minutes. This includes patches 5.1 to 5.56. Let's get started. At the close of Shadowbringers, darkness has been restored to the First, but the Scions are still stranded there. On the Source, their bodies are still in a coma-like state. Since you, the Warrior of Light, are the only person who can freely travel between the two worlds, Alphino wonders if somehow you can carry their souls home with you if they can be trapped in white auracite. You reach out to Beck Lug from the Numo tribe, who are renowned experts in soul magic. Once he learns all you have done to save his world, he agrees to help. First, he studies the afflicted people in Amarang, then he helps Alice create a familiar named Angelo. They use Angelo to heal Halric, the boy who is becoming a Sin Eater. Beck Lug explains that they can use the reverse technique on the Scions to freeze their souls, but more research is needed. After this, you and Alphino are summoned to Yulmore, where you learn that Chai Nuz has gone missing just after being elected the new mayor. You find him out and about working on solutions to the city's problems. Together, you recruit an old advisor and activate some wandering Talos that can be repurposed for the city's needs. You return to Yulmore and Chai's wife nearly hugs him to death. Then he gathers the people and gives a rousing speech in which he accepts his role as their new mayor. At the Crystarium, Grahatia and Beck Lug continue to research soul freezing and storage. You return to the Rising Stones back on the Source to keep Tataru and Kryl updated, then Estinian visits. He says Xenos' soul has returned and reclaimed his old body from an Asian. Gaius von Baelsar is now calling himself Shadowhunter, an exile from Garlemald and now an ally of the Scions, and that Xenos killed his father the Emperor while framing Gaius for it. Kryl surmises that their research into the Echo somehow allowed Xenos to return. Estinian says the good news is that Black Rose is no more and that Garlemald is in shambles. Sometime later, you return to the Crystarium to update the Scions. Lena arrives asking for help with new recruits and you go with her. There you learn that someone calling himself the Warrior of Light is hunting Sin Eaters. Alphino notes that people on the First still wrongly believe that Ardbert and his companions destroyed their world. Graha suggests gathering the citizens to set the record straight. The Scions agree, and before a large crowd, you reveal that the original Warriors of Light were heroes and they actually sacrificed themselves to stop the flood. Then, to everyone's shock, Ardbert himself appears, claiming that anyone can become Warriors of Light. The Scions later conclude this must be Elidibus using Ardbert's body, though his purpose remains unclear. You and Y'shtola then travel to Raktika Greatwood to study a newly found Ronkin ruin, where you discover the remains of Tayuna, an ancient mage who likely possessed the Echo. Later, you confront Ardbert again and confirm he is indeed Elidibus. He insists that emet-selch was wrong and that no common ground can exist between them before vanishing. Y'shtola decides to study the ruins in the Tempest for more clues about the Asians. With Bismarck's help, you travel to Anamnesis Anadur, an ancient high-tech library that reveals the story of the Convocation of 14, who summoned Zodiark, and Venat, the defector who summoned Hydaelyn to oppose him. Y'shtola stays to continue their research while the others return to the Crystarium. There, Graha reports that so many citizens are inspired to become Warriors of Light that the city is in chaos. Suddenly, a dazzling spectacle fills the sky, and Hydaelyn's voice echoes in everyone's minds. The false Ardbert appears again, declaring that all have been chosen as Warriors of Light. The spectacle fades, leaving the Scions uncertain of Elidibus's intent. Meanwhile, on the Source, Xenos dreams of the world's end, and shares his vision with a mysterious white-robed figure who speaks of the final days. Weeks later, you meet Morin the Librarian, who explains that the term Warrior of Light has appeared throughout history on the First, just like on the Source. Alphino is intrigued, and it seems that Hydaelyn is involved in both worlds. After a tense encounter with Elidibus, you learn that Thancred has collapsed. The Scions have been suffering dizzy spells, so you return to the Rising Stones, where Kryl notes that their bodies are growing cold. You report back to the Crystarium, but Y'shtola hasn't returned from Anamnesis Anadur, so you go after her. Elidibus appears, abducts her, and challenges you to a rescue. You pursue and confront him. Y'shtola breaks free, revealing that his obsession with salvation gives him strength, and it's fueled by the faith of countless new Warriors of Light. Elidibus confirms this before vanishing. Following a trail of mysterious crystals that speak with ancient voices, you meet Hythlodaeus again. He says each crystal holds a Convocation member's memories and gives you one that can summon heroes in times of need. Meanwhile, Graha and Beck Lug succeed at storing Graha's soul in white auracite. You and Y'shtola rejoin the Scions in Yulmore as Phantom Warriors of Light attack. Fighting toward the Crystarium, you find Graha and Beklug wounded. Elidibus has stolen the crystal containing Graha's soul, giving him control of the Crystal Tower. You confront him. He declares himself the last unsundered Ascian and transforms into the original Warrior of Light. Using Azim's crystal, you summon heroic allies and defeat him. Graha binds Elidibus' soul in the tower and enters stasis, merging with the tower, but you recover his soul crystal and Ardbert's light crystal. As the Scions prepare to leave the First, you give Ardbert's crystal to his companion Seto, revealing Ardbert's soul now resides within you. Runar confesses his love to Y'shtola, and she vows to return one day. Reen, though saddened, thanks everyone for their help. With Beklug's aid, the Scions transfer their souls to White Orosite and return to the Source, restoring their bodies. You also revive Grahatia, now a young man carrying his older self's memories, and he joins the Scions. Meanwhile, Xenos' new ally is revealed to be the Ascian Fandaniel, delighted that the original Ascians are gone, while Xenos remains fixated on his desire to fight you again. Sometime later at the Rising Stones, Lys invites the Scions to join a meeting of leaders to discuss Garlemald. Alisaie wishes to test if Angelo can be used to cure Gabu the Kobold. You and Graha skip the meeting and join her, starting by researching notes on tempering at Azus Law. You find the notes you need, but they are password protected, so you take the node back to the Rising Stones to show Cid. Kryl says that at the meeting of leaders, it was decided that Eorzeans should try to make peace with the Beast Tribes, and maybe finding the cure for tempering is the key. Cid arrives and cracks the lock for the Allagan research notes. After Cid conducts a simulation, a breakthrough technique is discovered, so you head to Limsa to test it on Gabu. It's a success and Gabu is cured. Now the Scions wish to cure as many tempered beings as possible, so with Matoya's help they make many more Angelos. After this, Merlwyb says a faction of pirates led by Sicard refused to make peace with beast tribes. You confront Sicard and find that he's making money stealing from the kobolds. Merlwyb confronts him, and they have a duel. She wins by delivering a non-lethal blow. Then Sicard's captain comes out of his cabin. He chastises his crew and demands they respect their admiral, Merlwyb. Merlwyb says the next step is to cure the high priest of the kobolds of tempering. She goes with you so she can personally return their stolen crystals. The cure succeeds, then Merlwyb offers her own life to atone for the crimes the Limsons have committed against the kobolds for generations. The kobold priest refuses to take her life and decides to trust her for now. Afterwards, out of nowhere, giant eerie towers appear all over Eorzea. In Alamigo, you spot a giant lunar Bahamut and meet Fandaniel. He takes credit for the towers and says he will use them to bring the final days, killing everyone, including himself. His aims are not aligned with his fellow Ascians, which surprises Alphinaud. Sometime later, Thancred reports that a massive, monstrous tower is being built on top of the Garlean capital, and the laborers appear to be tempered. You meet with the Eorzean leaders to discuss these developments. It's confirmed that people approaching these towers appear to be tempered to the nation of Garlemald itself, which doesn't make much sense. People who are immune to tempering are needed to investigate, so Raban has commissioned Arenvald and Fordola to help out. They leave to check out one of the towers while the Scions head to Ishgard to pick up Estinian. Together, they head to Azus Law to speak with Tiamat, since she was once Bahamut's mate and might have insight on Lunar Bahamut. They end up freeing her and she joins the fight. Everyone heads to Pagalthan next, where Lunar Bahamut was recently spotted. With Tiamat's help, you destroy Lunar Bahamut. The Amalja tribe witness this and make alliance with Ul'dah, turning their ire to Garlemald instead. Elsewhere, Fordola and Arenvald enter a tower and see inexplicable horrors, then they are attacked by a lunar Ifrit. Back at the Rising Stones, Kryl says the final days need to be taken seriously, so the next step is to petition the aid of Sharlayan. Sometime later, the Scions are invited to another meeting of leaders, but this time the Beast Tribes are invited as well. The meeting goes well as the tribes and the Eorzeans agree to work together against the threat of the towers. Later in Gridania, Fortunal, father of the twins Alphinaud and Alisaie, arrives. He states that Sharlayan will not interfere in any conflicts between Eorzea and Garlemald. He sees talk of the final days as ridiculous hyperbole. It escalates and he leaves, angry with his children. News arrives that the Telophoroi, those who serve the towers, are now marching toward the Cartano Flats. Before the Scions leave, Fordola takes Alphinaud to see Arenvald. He's alive, but paralyzed. Alphinaud is crushed, but Arenvald encourages him. He gathers his wits and the Scions head to the Cartano Flats. There they join and win the battle against the Telophoroi and the Lunar Primals. As bonds strengthen between the peoples and beasts of Eorzea, the moon suddenly shines with an eerie brightness that captivates everyone. Elsewhere, Fandaniel obsesses over the final days again, while Xenos wields a scythe and eagerly awaits his rematch with you, the Warrior of Light. And that concludes the story of post-Shadowbringers. I hope you've enjoyed this recap. Stick around on this channel. I'll be releasing the next video in this series, the story of Endwalker. Until next time,